And I think that, doctors don't understand what women are going through. Men don't understand what women are going through. Counselors, they try, but they don't understand because they've never been there. Like, I went to many counselors who they had never had, women, they had never had a miscarriage. They never knew anyone who had had a miscarriage. They didn't know what that was like, you know? And so they could empathize, but they couldn't, they could sympathize, but they could not empathize. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were sad for me. I didn't need somebody to be sad for me. I was sad enough for myself.
Yeah, you need. Hello, my fearless sisters, and welcome to the Fearless Podcast. My name is Lorena, and I am your poetry and authenticity coach. And I am here today with a very, very special human being with an incredible story that is going to inspire you, to humble you, and to give you hope. I am so excited about this episode. Our coach today, Amanda Collins, she is a certified self-esteem and infertility coach. I have to say, this is the first time that I hear the word infertility coach. And I feel that is such an important subject and that we don't talk enough about it. And I feel like it affects us in every way. So I am so happy to have here with me and you today our coach, Amanda Collins. Hi, Amanda. How are you?
Hello, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing amazing, and I'm so happy that you're here. And thank you so much for joining us. I don't want to take a lot of our audience time, and I want you to start telling us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. So a little bit about me is that I have, I had a pretty great life growing up. Mom and dad were in home and we lived way far out in the country and, got to do all the fun stuff of growing up outside. And so it was pretty great. Um, but as I got older and, life happens and things kind of go wrong, and I got married and we tried very hard to have babies and we could never carry. I couldn't carry. We could get pregnant, but I couldn't carry. And those were some of the darkest times of my life. And back then in the 90s and early 2000s, people really didn't talk about miscarriage and infertility. I mean, you go to your doctor, and if you were having problems, you get infertility shots if you could afford it, or there was surrogates and stuff like that if you could afford it. But nobody really talked about miscarriage. And I felt very alone during that time. It was probably one of the darkest times of my life.
Mm.
And he had kids. And so for him, I felt like it wasn't as important to pursue having more children. And so that was a very hard time during our marriage. Fast forward a few years, I've had lots of ups and downs in my life and a lot of struggles. But one positive that has come out of my life is that I found the Jay Shetty coaching certification, and I was able to heal those hurt parts that I never thought that I would be able to heal. And being able to do that helped me realize how important it was to just reach out and be there for other women who have struggled the way that I did, especially through infertility and miscarriage, because it's such a difficult time in someone's life, and there's very few people out there who understand. They may can empathize, but they haven't really been there, you know?
Yes, I'm sorry to hear that, but since I met you and I heard what you were doing, I actually start paying attention, and there is a lot of people right now that is struggling with that.
Yes.
It takes someone like you really to be honest, to tell her story, and to turn her wounds into wisdom to help others.
Yeah.
I'm curious because your niche is self-esteem and infertility. How would
Mhm.
you say that infertility affects or had affect you on your self-esteem?
Well, as a child, I had a really hard time learning. And so very early on in my life, my self-esteem was took a huge shot. And I just really struggled throughout, my younger years. And as I got older, I struggled a lot with self-esteem. And then whenever I started having miscarriages, once I was married and started having miscarriages, it really took a big hit, because as women, we're created
Mm.
to carry and to give birth. That's our job. you know our job as a female is to get pregnant and carry life inside of us and give birth and you know increase the species, as you might say. And so whenever you can't do that, you can't do what your body was created to do, it it really takes a toll on your self-esteem. And it wasn't until I really started researching the effects of infertility and the effects of miscarriage on the body that all of the things that I felt were normal.
Mm.
And all of the things that I was going through with it were normal. It's normal to feel a lack of self esteem. It's normal whenever you're struggling to feel like you've done something wrong, or you're not whole, or something's broken inside of you. And it's not true, but it's normal to feel that way. And
Mm.
so my goal is to try to help women and men who struggle with fertility issues and miscarriage to realize that everything that you're feeling is normal. All of the issues that you're feeling, all of the things that you're going through, the grief, the trauma, the self-esteem, the stigma, it's all normal. And it's okay to have those feelings, but it's very important to remember to not live there. And I think that that was the biggest mistake that I made, is I just wanted to go to bed and cry and just stay there. And I couldn't talk about it. And all my friends were getting pregnant and having babies, and all my relatives were getting pregnant and having babies. And I felt like there was something completely wrong with me because I
Yes.
couldn't. And so that also made my self-esteem take a huge hit. And then, going through the course and learning about self-esteem and how important it is to just love yourself no matter what, helped me realize that we're not alone, you know.
Mm.
And it feels very lonely when you're going through this, when you're going through miscarriages, and when you're going through fertility issues. It feels very, very lonely. And so you're not alone. You're not the only one. And we just want to offer a safe space and a place where you can grieve and you can, move forward and heal from it.
Yes, I just feel like the big issue too is that we don't we don't talk about it. So of course you're going to think it's your fault. Of course you're not going to think that it's normal to feel that way because it's such a subject that nobody really talks about. But
Yeah.
it's important to encourage women to talk about it and to let them know that they are not alone, that it's normal to feel all kind of dark feelings. It's like grieving, like you said,
Yeah.
and that there is a space for us, for anyone that's going through something like that, to open up and to share the story and to help each other. Because for
Yes.
whatever reason, God gave some of us a different purpose. But I mean, everything that you went through now, it can be a tool for you to help so many people, to put the word out there everywhere, social media, in your community, in interviews, in podcasts. We need to start talking about this.
Yes. And I think one of the things that women don't understand, even though it's our bodies, I don't think we understand that with miscarriage and with fertility issues comes this huge hormonal flux, so our hormones are all over the place. So your body thinks is pregnant and then, or is pregnant, and the next minute it's not. And so you're having the ups and downs of the hormones, and that can really cause self-esteem issues because you have no idea what's going on inside of you. You lose weight, you gain weight, and that can be very traumatic also, especially like if you're, if you're 8 or 9 months along and you have a miscarriage and you lose that baby that you're so excited for because it's almost here, and you've gained this weight and now you can't lose it, or whatever. There's so much, and it's so difficult and it's so hard, and you feel like you can't talk about it, and you feel like you have nowhere to turn to because your friends are having babies and they don't understand, and it's just, it's very difficult. It's a very difficult time. And I think that, doctors don't understand what women are going through. Men don't understand what women are going through. Counselors, they try, but they don't understand because they've never been there. Like I went to many counselors who they had never had, women, they had never had a miscarriage. They never knew anyone who had had a miscarriage. They didn't know what that was like, you know? And so they could empathize, but they could sympathize, but they could not empathize.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
They were sad for me. I didn't need somebody to be sad for me. I was sad enough for myself.
Yeah, you
I
needed to
needed
be
someone to
hurt.
understand. I needed someone who understood my grief and understood my pain and understood my loss.
Yes, yes.
And so that's really what I would like to do, is just be there, cry, scream, yell, whatever you need to do, but don't live there, because if you stay in that spot of grief, for extended period of time, it really has an effect on your mind. It has an effect on your heart and your emotions, and it's harder to get out the longer you stay in that. So it's important to remember to live,
And to work out of that.
Yeah.
I never
And
had an experience like a long-term miscarriage, but I did have a miscarriage. And like you said, my hormones, like I couldn't stop crying. Then I didn't try anymore. I thought it was my fault, and I started digging. What did I do? Why didn't I do? Maybe I went walking and I shouldn't. Maybe I ate something. So it's just like we blame ourselves like so
yeah.
much, and we tell ourselves. I want to ask you something personal. It's like when you were in those moments. This is two
Mhm.
questions. One, what story do you tell yourself from that place of victim? And how will you recommend, or how will you think that we should change our story? Like the story we tell ourselves and the story that we should tell ourselves, if you can share that.
Well, I also have thyroid disease. And so I have, Hashimoto's thyroiditis, and it's an autoimmune disease. And so every time I got pregnant, my body was attacking those cells because autoimmune disease, it attacks itself. The body attacks itself. And so it wasn't until just the last year that I realized that that's what was going on. But what I would tell myself was the same thing. Well, maybe I forgot to take my thyroid pill, or maybe I ate something I shouldn't, or maybe it's because we had cats, or maybe God hates me. Maybe God hates me. Maybe that's the reason why he doesn't trust me to take care of his children. So maybe I need to be a better person. Maybe I need to go to church more, or maybe I'm not good enough to be a mom. Maybe I'm not smart enough. You know, there's so many things that you get wrapped up in your head. And then because of those things, because you can't see because of the darkness, you keep telling yourself that it's because I'm not a good person. It's because, you know, I'm not taking care of my body, or it's because of this or because of that. And you really get lost in that. And I think that if I had had a coach at that time, that I could have found my way out of the darkness.
Yes.
You know, and I never really, even though I kind of was like, maybe God hates me, deep down inside, I knew he didn't. Deep down inside, I knew that he loved me and that he cared about me, and that even though it hurt, that there was a reason behind the miscarriages, and there was a reason why I was not allowed to get pregnant and have babies. I knew there was a reason. I didn't know what that reason was until recently. Yeah. But I knew there was a reason. And it took, I mean, it's been 20 years, you know, for me to find that reason. And so I think that we get caught up in the reason. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why do I keep losing? Why can't I carry? Why can't I have babies? And we get lost in the why. And sometimes the why is that maybe the egg was damaged. Yes. You know, maybe the sperm was no good. Because every month, if we're having sex, am I allowed to say sex?
Yes, of course. Absolutely.
If you're having sex every month with your spouse or your partner, you have 100% chance of getting pregnant. Yeah. Every month. And most women don't realize that they get pregnant and miscarry almost every single month because the egg is damaged, or the sperm is no good, or something went wrong in, you know, in the beginning stages, and the body just naturally takes care of it and lets it go. And it wasn't until I recognized the signs in myself of how I felt when I was pregnant and how I felt when I wasn't pregnant, that I knew I was actually pregnant, because I would only get like 4 or 5 weeks, 6, 8 weeks. 8 weeks is the longest I've ever carried. And after about 5, I stopped peeing on a stick. But I know that I've had more than that, because I could tell the way I felt. You know, I could tell the changes in my body. And sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes that's a bad thing. But you know, remembering that there is a reason. We may not always know the reasons, but remembering that there is a reason and trying not to get lost in the why is this happening, I think are the two most important things.
Yes, it's that saying that says, it's not happening to you. Sometimes it happens for you, right?
Yes.
Maybe
Yep.
if you would have got pregnant, maybe you would have lost your life, and
Right.
then it would be a baby with no mom, you
Yep.
know?
And that happens.
And that happens. That happens a
So,
lot. So
yeah.
um, God knows what it does. So tell me, what is your relationship with God? Um, or how it was or how it is, and um, how much of a part of you is God?
So, when I was 6 years old, I was sitting in my bed and I asked God to protect me all the days of my life.
Mm.
And I would sleep with my Bible and I would open it. I was very young and I'd gone to church my whole life at the ripe old age of 6. And and I was very young and I had a Bible that was red and I would open it up to the red letters. And I knew that it was Jesus words. I didn't like the black letters because I knew that wasn't Jesus. But I would open it but I would open it up to the red letters and I would sleep on the
Mm.
gospels. So I would sleep like either Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John because that's where most of the red letters are. And if there was any black in it, I didn't want that part. I just wanted the word of Jesus next to me. And so I would sleep on my Bible with the red letters open, which sounds silly.
No, I know, I love it. I am, God is a big part of
Yeah.
my life as well. And sometimes we do get mad, but then at the end of the day, we know that He does everything for us, and everything has a reason, and we might not
Yep.
realize it at the moment, but we need to have faith and
Yes.
and hope.
Well, and the one thing that I realized is that no matter how angry I got at God, no matter how upset, no matter how far I strayed, I knew that He loved me and I knew that He was there for me. And I knew that He sent His Son to die for me. And I knew that there was a purpose for my life. And I knew that He could handle my anger and He could handle my sadness. And I knew that He held every tear. And I know that all of my babies are in heaven. And I know one day I will see them and I will finally get to meet them.
Yes, no, this is so beautiful. Thank you so much again for sharing such a story. And I want to keep talking to you about this a little bit, just so our audience know, because I'm sure a lot of people can relate to you. Can you think about the moment when you were able to turn this is my fault, everything happens to me, and the victim mode to something more empowering? Like when you were like, okay, I'm going to pick myself up and I'm going to write a different story. Do you remember that moment, how it happened?
Um, yeah.
And
It's,
if will you like to share it?
yeah.
Yes, all right.
um, I I had started the course. I mean, I was very depressed for a very long time. And I just had determined in myself that, it is what it is and there's nothing I can do about it. Um, I remember backtrack a little bit. I remember one day I was driving down the road and I was praying. I was working at the Christian radio station close to where I used to live. And um, I was in constant prayer all the time. And I was praying and I asked God, I said, why can't I have babies? And he said, that is not my plan for you.
Mm.
And it broke my heart because that's all I ever wanted was to have babies. And I said, why? Why is that not your plan for me? Why don't you trust me? And he said, that is just not my plan for you. I have something different. And I cried the rest of the way home. And I cried for days. I cried and cried and cried. But I just kept trying to tell myself, okay, that's not his plan for me. That's not his, what is his plan for me? So what's his plan for me? And I was very lost for a long time. It took a long time for me to really, I knew that I wanted to help other women because I could not find the help that I needed. And it was important to me to try to figure out how to do that. And then I saw Jay's, it's like 20 years later, I saw Jay's advertisement on Facebook. And I was like, okay, maybe this is how I'm going to be able to help other women is by becoming a life coach and I can help other people. And, you know, I got accepted into the program almost immediately, but I had to wait a while in order to start the program. And whenever I started the program, I was struggling a lot with negative self-talk. Like I was horrible to myself, just spoke horribly in my mind to myself. And I was on a like a training lab in the course, and they were asking for someone to be a coach and or to be a coachee to, you know, to practice for practice. And I was like, okay, well, you know, this is my first week. I'm just going to sit back and I'm just going to watch and see what happens. And inside my mind, my brain was going, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Volunteer, 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 volunteer. And I'm going, no, 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 no. I'm not. No, I'm just watching today. And so I went ahead and I volunteered to be a coachee. And that moment changed my life. Mm. That moment right there. And I got coaching for negative self-talk. And I totally had a huge change of mindset and realized that I am the one who controls my thoughts. I am the one, not everybody else, not the people that have negative things to say or are not necessarily negative, but not positive. Because there's a difference between somebody saying something really negative and hateful and somebody saying something not positive and not helpful. You know, they're trying to help you and not hurt you.
But it hurts.
There's a difference, you know, there's a huge difference. And so whenever I realized that I am in control of my own thoughts, and that day was the day that happened, that's whenever I was like, okay, I have to get better inside of me so that I can help everyone else get better.
Yeah, when you have a purpose, you're not a victim anymore. You
That's
are
right.
a creator. You are there to empower and to be at service for others. And what a beautiful gift from God. I mean, very, very painful. We know that. But now you are in a position to help others that they're going through. So it's not just your life. It's just so many other lives that they can go on and help so many others. You know, and you start a conversation and we can start talking about options, about reasons. And I wanted to ask you, how do you help your clients that they're going through this struggle with this issue, and also how to keep their self-esteem strong?
I think just remembering that it's not you haven't done anything wrong. You know, you haven't done anything wrong. And realizing that being kind to yourself, speaking kind to yourself, having compassion with yourself,
Yes.
you know, um, practicing kindness towards self is the most important thing. It's the only way you're going to make it through.
Yes.
Because if you are negative towards yourself, who is going to be kind to you?
Mhm. Yeah.
You know,
The way you
I
treat
think
yourself is the way that you're teaching others
to
how
treat you.
to treat you. So when we're
Yeah.
broken with something like that, it's just, it starts with like, okay, what's going on? Like, we say in coaching, the awareness. And then it's the self-acceptance, and then the
Yeah.
compassion, and then the self-love starts speaking in.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
once you love yourself, then you forgive yourself. You understand that you are a part of God as well. So this,
Yeah.
how can I use what I learned, what I went through, for the good of all,
Yes.
to serve others? And that is what
Yeah.
you're doing. And that is just so, so beautiful. So beautiful.
Yeah.
And no, I was
Um,
going to ask you, what
Go
are
ahead.
the tools that they were your best tools then and now, or the tools that you like to use with your clients to deal with this kind of challenges?
Um, Journaling, I think, is very important, especially whenever you're going through this journey. You don't necessarily have to read it ever again, but just to get out your feelings.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes you need to hit something, and I understand that, you know, or exercise, do something, go axe throwing,
Yes. Yes.
do some kickboxing. We had a punching bag in the garage, and sometimes I would go out there and it hurt, but sometimes you need something to hit, you know. Um, Scream.
Yes.
I would take a pillow and I would just scream into the pillow, because sometimes you have emotions and you don't know how to deal with them. Sometimes you cannot cry enough. There's not enough tears, and there's still so much pinned up inside of you. I remember I would go out to the airport sometimes, and as the planes were taking off, I would just scream at the top of my lungs because I knew that nobody could hear me, because it was drowned out by the airplanes. And it may sound silly, but it really did help.
Oh, I
Um,
knew that. It's
yeah,
so the release
just
of
relief.
emotions, of stress.
Yeah,
Moving your body, like you
yes,
said, is so important. Like screaming,
yeah,
kicking, dancing, punching, exercise,
yes,
doing yoga. Like, your
singing.
physiology affects your
Yeah,
psychology. Tony Robbins
yeah,
always says that.
yeah. And getting it out, writing it out, talking to someone. Find someone that you trust that will hold space for you, that you can talk to, that you can cry and you can have those emotions, that's in a safe place, that's non-judgmental. Sometimes we think that our friends are the best place to go, but they don't understand they're having babies.
Yeah.
you know their life looks perfect.
Yes. And
you
did you
know
ever feel like a little bit of like jealousy?
oh, absolutely.
And that's
Absolutely.
normal because we feel so guilty also
Yeah,
when we feel like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you know prayer
Mm.
prayer helps, meditation helps. But sunshine, you have to have your sunshine, you have to go outside.
Mm.
I do a thing that's called sun gazing, where early in the morning as the sun is coming up, I go outside and I close my eyes and I look at the sun with my eyes closed, right? And I just look at the sun and I feel the warmth and I get my vitamin D And I just thank God for everything. Being grateful,
Yes.
I have found, is the most important part of my healing journey. I cannot describe the way it feels to say thank you for letting me go through my miscarriages. Thank you for letting me experience that pain. It's very cleansing.
Yes. Gratitude is so, so powerful. I feel
Yes,
like whenever we are grateful for something, we're telling God, the universe, that it's okay, that we have
it's
enough,
okay
that we can take it,
that we
And
can take it.
whenever we focus, as soon as we start and catch our dark side starting to say negative things, we need to be like, "Poop," and have a default mode. We all have a default mode. Some, like
Yes,
I used to be like the victim, or like, we all have, or we'll be like just getting stressed about anything. But if we make gratitude our default mode,
yeah,
when we are being grateful for something, our mind cannot focus on anything else. So we're
no,
grateful. So whenever we feel like our thoughts are
grateful.
being
Yeah,
crazy, thank you, Lord, because I'm here, I'm alive, I'm healthy, because of giving me this
yes,
opportunity, because of trusting that I am strong enough to
yes.
deal with what I'm dealing.
That
Because,
I am strong enough. Yes,
yes, yes,
that you trust me enough to be strong enough to be able to be here
yes,
for those who need me. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to go through all this pain and all this suffering and all this loss to make me stronger so that I can be here to help those who are going through all this pain and all this suffering so that they can be stronger, so they can help those who are going
yes,
through all this pain and all this suffering. And we're just going to be a strong, strong, strong community of women helping the ones behind us.
yes. It's a domino, it's such a
Yeah.
domino effect. What would you say that they are the three biggest strengths that you gain through this process?
Um, I think that the first has probably been my ability to love myself
Mm, talk about-
because I didn't know how, especially with all the pain. Um, so self-love would be number one. Um, excuse me. My nose is trying to run, not cry, trying not to cry.
It's okay. This is a safe space. We're all fearless, and fearless women
That's
have the
right.
courage to cry
To
and be
cry. That's
vulnerable.
right. That's
Yes,
right.
yes.
Going through the pain and healing from the pain
Mm.
has probably been another one of my biggest things. See this box of Kleenex?
Yes.
I've been through 5 in the last year. Last 7 months, really, just from healing, and it's a journey. I think that's another thing. It's a journey. It's not an easy one. It does take a lot of courage
Yeah.
to do this. And so you're going to, if you choose to heal, if you choose to move forward and not stay stuck in a place of sadness and depression and grief, um, you're gonna have to invest in Kleenex.
I I like it. I'm sorry. Like I like it how you put a little bit of humor in your story because
You're
it's
gonna, I mean, you have to, and humor, you have to
yeah,
laugh. You have to laugh. You have to enjoy life. And you can't, I mean, I realize how difficult it is. I do. I realize how
of
difficult it
course.
is. I've been there. I know how hard it is. We didn't have the money for fertility treatments. We didn't have the money for a surrogate. We didn't have the money to try alternative processes to try to get pregnant. And so here I am, 54 years old, never carried full term. I have no children. I'm in menopause. I stopped having a period several years ago. And that was another source of mourning. You know, you mourn every month because you're not pregnant or you have miscarried. And then you mourn whenever you stop having a period. That's a whole nother set of feelings.
Well,
And
it's
then you mourn because you realize that you're never going to have grandchildren and you have no heirs and you have no one to take care of you when you get old. But then you rejoice and you realize that God will take care of you and God will
yeah.
supply those things for you because you have family. They may not be what you thought it was going to look like whenever you were a child growing up, but He does supply. And
Yes.
so you got to not take yourself so seriously.
Yeah.
You
Plus,
can't, because if you do, it's just going to make things worse. You have
yes,
to have humor and you have to just enjoy life. Just, I know it's hard. I do. I know it's very hard, but don't just lay down and die. Get out there, enjoy life, keep moving forward. There is a reason, there is a purpose, and God's got you.
yeah, it's so much grieving because I mean, we talk about grief when we lost someone, but something like that, you lost a child and then you lost a hope and then you
Mm-hmm.
lost you feel like you lose your womanhood when you're going through menopause pause. But God got you, like
That's
it's
right.
always been there for you. I mean, imagine everything that you went through and you're here in a place of resilience, of a light illuminating other people's life. So God is going to give you what you need,
Yeah.
and and I know we said live our life, but how important it is to grieve and then be like, okay, like you
Yeah.
said, 20 box of Kleenex, feel your feelings, because I feel like when we were like, oh, I'm fine, I had a miscarriage, I'm okay, and
I'm
then we
okay.
hold that, that's just like,
You have to grieve. You have
yeah,
to grieve. It's important to do that. Because you have lost. You can't just glaze over it. And it's taken me a long time to get where I'm at. And it's taken a lot of intense coaching and mind work and self-love and self-care and time.
yes,
15 years ago, I couldn't talk about this. I
yes,
couldn't talk about it. I would have a meltdown every time I tried to talk about it. And it wasn't really until I could have a conversation about it and not cry. I mean, like, and not just not cry, but not bawl, like have a complete and total meltdown and not be able to have a conversation anymore, that I realized that I was healed
yes.
from
And
all that. And it took a long time. It's taken a long time.
yeah, you
But
have to have patience with yourself,
yes, and you do have to have patience with yourself. You're right. You're absolutely right. But the
compassion.
thing about it is that whenever you're going through it, you need to make sure that you have a support system.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing. You
Yeah.
have to have a support system. You need someone who's been there. You need, your preacher. You need your church family, your family. You need people to understand. And if you don't have that support system, go find it.
Yes.
Because it's out here. You
You
know,
don't
it
have to
is
be
now. It
alone.
wasn't before, but it is now. And there
Yes.
are women out there who have been through what you're going through, and we love you and we care about you and we
Yeah.
want to help you
Yes.
because we know how hard it is. We know. And, you know, if you have a husband, or maybe you're a husband and you have a wife who is just kind of glossing over it, it's not a big deal to them, we're still here to help you, you know? And that can be hard too. Whenever, like with my husband, I have no idea if he ever grieved. I never saw him grieve.
Mm.
And so I have no idea if he ever did. And that was very difficult. And so if you have that question, ask him. Ask him how he feels about it, because he may be struggling just as much as you and he just doesn't know how to say those words.
Yes, just society just puts such pressure in all of us, in women and
On all of us.
in
Yeah,
all of us. We just need to realize that, we are our own person and we make our decisions, and, we are worth it, and we're all different. Society
absolutely.
cannot tell us what to do, what not to do, because, we are all different. So I
Well,
have a couple of more questions for you.
okay.
Uh, yes, yes. I wanted to ask you, what would it be something that you would like to say to your younger self, to that Amanda that thought that it was the end of the world? Now that you are where you are,
Mhm.
what will you say to her?
It's not the end of the world. It may be painful now, and it's very painful. It may be painful right now, but it's not the end of the world. You have to get up. You have to move forward. And I know you don't want to, and that's okay, because it's okay to be sad and it's okay to grieve, but you can't live there.
Yeah.
And I didn't have someone to tell me that. I didn't have someone to tell me, don't live there. It's okay to be sad and it's okay to grieve. Um, as a matter of fact, people told me, well, there's always next month. There's always next month. You can get pregnant next month. You'll carry. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. But it is.
Yeah,
It is a big deal.
people just want to make us feel better, whatever we're
Yeah.
going through. And
Yep.
sometimes all we need when we're going through pain is just somebody to listen to us and be like, it
It's
sucks.
okay. Sucks.
Sucks. I get it. I am
Yep.
so
Awful.
sorry. I can only imagine, because if you didn't go through that, you cannot say, oh, it's okay. Like, no, don't say
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Just listen. Just have that person that feels so lost and small at the time. Give her time to express herself. Make
Yeah.
sure that you see her and that you hear her. What will
Yeah.
be like your
And
last?
remember, time is so important. Take care of yourself. You know, if like I had stepkids,
Mm.
and so I had to take care of them, and that made me get out of bed. But if I hadn't had them, then I didn't have anybody to make me do anything, right? My husband was not going to make me get up and get out of bed and make me take care of myself. So, number one, take care of yourself. Get out of bed, take a shower, brush your teeth, eat, do the things, leave the house.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. And I understand it's hard. I do. I get that. It's hard. But take care of yourself. Exercise, breathe, do deep breathing, learn breathing techniques. Stay present
Yes.
in what is happening in your life today, and grieve. It's still okay. It's okay. There's going to be days that are overwhelming, and, it's going to be more than you feel like you can handle. That's okay. Take that day and feel those emotions, feel them. Don't just bury them, because tomorrow you need to get out of bed and take a shower and brush your teeth and put on your makeup and do your hair and leave the house. Because if you don't, it's going to be a year and you're still laying in bed. And so take care of yourself.
Yes.
Find a support group. Get a coach. Find a counselor. Make sure that they've been through what you've been through. There's some great groups out there. And, if you're dealing with infertility and you're going to a fertility specialist, they have support groups that they can get you in contact with in your area. There are some really great ones out there wherever you're at. They didn't have that. It's finally becoming so much of, I don't want to say problem, but it's happening so often to so many women now that they finally realize that women's mental health from miscarriage and infertility is a big deal, and so there is help out there. You can find it. You just little Google, DuckDuckGo, whatever you use, just seek it, search it out. Contact me.
Exactly.
I'll help you. I'll walk you through it. I'll help you. I'll hold space for you, whatever you need. We'll find someone in your community where you can go and actually be with people.
Yes.
And just remember, you're not alone.
Yeah.
You're not alone in this.
Yeah.
There's so many women out there who have gone through this. And I think it's high time that we take the stigma off of it, because there's been such a huge stigma put on women who can't carry and who have miscarriages. Don't ask your friends when they're going to have a baby. Don't. Just don't. It's so, that was the worst. You're trying and you're having miscarriage after miscarriage after miscarriage, or you're doing fertility treatments and you can't get pregnant, and you're trying and you're trying and you're trying, and your friend comes up you hadn't seen in a long time and they're like, oh, how are you doing? I heard you got married. When are you having a baby?
Yes, I know, but people don't know, and it's difficult. But as long as you reach out, you talk about, you get it out, you realize that it's not your fault, that you have a different purpose, and and that you're not alone. Share your story, get a coach, talk about it, and it's important, like you said, to have somebody that went through it, so she knows what she's talking about, and. I'm so happy that we had this time, and I'm sure that so many women are going to be touched by your story and inspired to take a step and to start working in their self-love, and don't go in a hole. Ask for help and just move forward and see what's the reason, because if it happens for you, it has to be something that you have to do with it, right?
Well, and remember to set goals for your future, plan for a future, do things that you want to do. There's more to life. I promise. I know it doesn't seem like, when everybody around you is having babies and kids and they're going to this and doing that and gymnastics and ballet and football and baseball and t-ball and all the things. Make plans for your life. Do the things that you want to do. Set those goals, go for it. Do the thing that you want to do. Do those things. Look into adoption. That's another way that you can help foster kids. That may be something that God is calling you to do. I wanted to adopt. My husband did not. And so that was a big deal between us. That's something that you need to talk about with your spouse. You know, there are so many babies out there that need mommies and daddies. So think about it. Stay positive. Stay positive. Try to maintain hope. And in maintaining hope, I think by setting goals, even if it's just tiny goals. Today, I'm going to, go to yoga class, whatever, and do those things. Set those goals, do those things, even if it's something huge, like I'm going to get my doctorate degree in whatever. Do it. Do the thing. Don't let sadness and depression and anxiety and stigma keep you from living your life. I did. I let it keep me from living my life. Don't let it keep you from living your life. Go do the things that you want to do in your life.
Yes. Thank you so much, Amanda, for such beautiful words. And we are almost out of time, but I have a couple of lighter questions to ask you.
Okay.
We like to end in a light note. Let me ask you, what are three of your role models that all this time they were like your North Star, if any?
It's funny. I hadn't thought about this, so I don't know. But as I sit here thinking, there's scripture in the Bible, and I can't remember exactly how it goes, and I don't know where my phone is, but it talks about blessed is the woman who is barren. And it's something like for her tents will overflow or something like that. And she is the one who kept me going. I wish I knew. Let me see. Let me find my phone.
So this is a woman from the Bible, or what's
it's really just a prayer. It's like my thing is gonna do weird things. I gotta look it up. I'm sorry. Because I want to tell you what it is, because it's so good, and I wish I had looked it up sooner. I know. I'm sorry.
Take your time. I can tell you my role models in the meantime.
Okay, please do.
My mom is my role model in a lot of ways. She's a very strong woman. She went through a lot of heartaches. And when I was going through my awakening, if I have to name someone that's known, I want to say that Brené Brown is a role model. Maya Angelou always inspires me.
Yes.
Like in a more funny and straight way, like Mel Robbins was inspirational to me.
Yes.
And of course, Jay Shetty, which,
absolutely,
it was such a big part of finding our purpose as well.
Yes, because I think that without Jay, I would not be here. I would not be here. Let me see.
And if you don't find that, I have another question for you. Maybe
okay.
About in the meantime.
Go ahead.
So, if your life was a movie, what will be the title of your life, of your movie?
I think that I think it would be joy in the darkness.
Joy and the darkness. Wow,
Yes.
that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Aww.
Because even whenever I was at my lowest and saddest, and the darkness was all around, I always had the joy of the Lord. I always knew that God loved me and that He was holding me and protecting me. And like I said, He had my tears. And I always knew that He was there and He had my best interest at heart. And so I think it would be joy in the darkness, because without Him, I would not have had joy. I would not have joy now.
Yeah.
And I don't think I could have made it through. I don't think I could have dealt with it.
It's just faith is just when you have faith, you have the advantage because faith keeps you going,
Yes.
believing that there is something big, that there is a purpose, that there is something else besides this life right here, right now, that
Yeah.
like in the Titanic, your soul will go on, and our soul will go on,
Yeah.
and we have to look at the big picture and move forward. And thank goodness for people like you that's courageous enough to stand up and tell her story. And I want to make sure that all our viewers know where they can reach you. Where can they find you? Can you tell us your social media or any place that they can find you?
So I'm on Facebook and I'm on Instagram, both. Facebook is just Amanda Collins. And Instagram is Lady AJ10. And so it may be easier to Lady AJ10. There's 850 million Amanda Collins. So
Well,
I
we
don't
love
know how many Amanda Collins life coach there are. So you guys can find my business page, Amanda Collins Life Coach. I'm also on Instagram as Amanda Collins, but Lady AJ10. And you can email me at ladyaj10@gmail.com. So Instagram would probably be easier for you to find me, or you
So
can email me.
if you
Either one.
if you guys email Amanda, make sure that you put in the subject fearless, so she makes sure
Yes.
she doesn't lose your message. And if you also want to DM her in Facebook or Instagram with any questions, right, Amanda?
Yes. Go right ahead.
She's here to listen to you. If you want to have a discovery call, if you want her as
Yes.
a coach, or you just want to share what you're going on with her.
Yes.
Because she is here to help you and to let you know that you are not alone. And I really hope that you learned something today, that you got inspired, and that you feel stronger. And I can't wait to see you next time. And Amanda, you are an angel. And thank you so much for being here. And I